17th of November, Rabbi Moore, Parsha with Rashi, Vayishlach.
Okay. Now, let's try what's going on here. Good. Okay. So a bit late. Who's here today? Fairfit. Lou's not here? I don't see him, and
I think he is here. There he is.
Oh, yes. Okay. Let's go. Welcome back, Steve. Haven't seen you for some time.
I am back anyway.
Okay, good. Let's go. We are up to
Glasses.
Pasuk 14, Pasuk Yud Dalet. Steve, would you like to start off?
Yeah, well,
Shani, Dr. Shani.
wait a second. 1 second. We're doing
Vayishlach.
yeah, Vayishlach. Okay, I'm in Vayishlach. Pasuk 14. Okay. Later. Okay. Yeah, you the Vayelin Sham Balayla, and he stayed there overnight. That he stayed there that night. Vayikach min haba biyado, and he took whatever came into his hand.
Well, Sirach is going to explain what that means.
Okay. Mincha Esav Achiv, for an offering to his brother Esav.
A gift to Esav, his brother.
Okay. A mincha means a gift. Okay, good. Okay, okay. Rashi, yeah, it's a strange. This habab yado. There is shuto in his the Margot, yeah, came into his. It literally means came into his hand, into his possession. Okay, and similarly, vayikach et kol arzo miyado, and he took all the land in his hand. That's what it literally means. Okay, in Rashi, but Midrash Agada, in homiletic Agada, it says min haba biyado, explains that this phrase min haba biyado, avanim tofot margilot. It means, I guess, literally good stones, but it means, I guess, diamonds and margarita are sometimes translated as pearls, precious stones. What happened?
I think we lost Rabbi Moore.
I think so.
He must have hit a button. His camera and sound, his microphone is off.
No,
What's Rashid again? Rashid is property, right?
Right. Before you close up the last bag, I want you to.
Oh, there he is. Came
I don't
back.
know.
Where's the man? Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's happened to me. I actually have a new internet connection as of yesterday. And I don't know if it's got to do with that, but my internet's working fine, but I don't know that. I just got a message saying there was something wrong with your device and we had to cut it out. And
Oh,
starting,
wow.
I don't know. Oh, okay, let's continue.
Okay, so
Um,
let me
Steve.
start. Habab Biyado literally means which came
Right.
into his hands. It was shuto in his possession. And similarly, Vayishlach had called Atzot Miyado. And he took the whole land into his hand, literally. The Midrash Agada, the Gadic explanation, Min
That
Habab,
means, so yoga means. Do you hear background noise?
sorry,
Hello?
I'm here, I think.
I hear kind of back. Do you hear background noise? No?
I did for a while,
Hello?
yeah.
I'm not
Am I
hearing,
on?
I haven't got connection here.
Yeah, I don't hear it now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you, Steve.
Okay. Should I continue or what?
I think
Min
your
Habab,
connection sounds very, good. Okay, B'shusa, v'chein ka'akos u'midrash Haggadah,
yeah, Min
min
Habab
haba b'yodo.
explains that this phrase means avanim tovot. I mean, I guess jewels, diamonds, and margaliot, pearls. Shadam tsar v'tzoror. That I guess a person like not literally not puts in his
He
chest.
hangs it in a pouch.
He,
Or is like a bundle, a pouch.
oh,
B'noi sam b'yodo, and carries them in his hand.
and he holds them in his hand.
So that means literally he gave him from what he had in his hand. What can be carried in the hand? That
And,
refers to precious jewels.
okay, Devar Acher,
Okay, Dova Acher,
another explanation. Min haba biyado, of this phrase from what came into his hand. Min ha chulin. In other words, not from anything sacred. Natal ma'aser, that he, in other words, he had taken whatever it was. He had taken meiser from it.
right.
Kama, what's this? That
Kamad Atomer,
Commode. I don't know what that means. As the Itamar,
As you say, it means as once, right? As the Pasuk says, Kma'at Omar. Sometimes you find the Lashon in the Medrash or in the Chilta, in the Medrash, you find this Lashon. Kma'at Omar, as you say, which means that the Pasuk says,
Ashrein.
Atzer Asher
I've taken tenth and a tenth for you. No, it's for Hashem.
Yaakov Avinu, just 1 second. Yaakov Avinu said to Kosh Baruch Hu, if you do fulfill your promises towards me, then I will do my bit, and whatever I have, whatever Kosh Baruch Hu you give me, I will doubly tithe for you.
And
Which
20.
means 20%, correct. The person is supposed to give 20% where possible. If the person have ample means, he should give 20% of his earnings to tzedakah. And then afterwards, he took the gift. By the way, it's interesting, as far as the halachas of Ma'aseh Ksofim are concerned, there's certain things which one is obliged. Let's say a person has a job or something, or even if he's self-employed, there's certain things he must, certain taxes and things he has to pay on a compulsory manner. Is that included in his earnings or not? So the Ma'aseh comes out interesting that things like tax, where he has absolutely be'etzem, is going to be deducted from him come what may. And the money deducted for the tax is nothing to do with him, Bechlal. It's not being used for his benefit at all. Ostensibly, we're going to tie now that all tax paid to the government eventually goes back to the taxpayer and is for his benefit. Okay, but the Ma'aseh, he's got no say in the matter. I mean, it doesn't come directly to him. It's not. In other words, when you get tax deducted, it doesn't say, well, this is tax deducted for Ploni Almoini. And Ploni Almoini has a certain schus in the government's taxes for his benefit. There's no such thing. But what about Bituach Leumi, meaning you take Social Security? Now, that is the chayra, that's like an insurance. And that's like the thing, and you pay insurance, for instance, you have a person has a pension fund. Okay? So that money is deducted from his earnings for the pension fund. But that is directly to his benefit. It's for him personally. Then on that one, that is yes included in earnings. Even though Lamais is going to be compulsorily deducted from his, if it's a pension fund, may not necessarily be compulsory, but certainly a Social Security, Bituach Leumi, but you have to have it deducted. On the other hand, it goes directly into this person's Social Security fund, his how do you call it? His kupa, his kitty, right? And it's specifically put aside for that person. The Mela, let's say, is considered as his contribution towards Social Security, and maybe he's entitled to. It gives him certain benefits because he has made that contribution towards Social Security. The Mela, that is really like an insurance policy or a pension fund that really is considered to the benefit of the person who's paid it. So therefore, that is, yes, considered among earnings, even though he must take it off. So let's give an example. A person that earns $5,000 a month, okay? And he's got to pay on that 25% tax. That's $1,250 tax. He doesn't have to take that. He doesn't have to pay mice on that because that's not considered his earnings. He never got it. He has to pay the tax, and he's not getting any direct benefit from it. So basically his earnings that month are considered $3,750, not $5,000. But if in addition he also has to pay, let's say, another $250 Social Security, okay, that is considered his earnings. So even though Lamaisi ends up in his take-home pay $3,500, okay, but Lamaisa $250 which he took off was for his benefit. That's like his own insurance policy. Okay, then that's his. Therefore, he has to pay Maisa on that. So we'd have to take Maisa from $3,750 and not just from $3,500, which was his take-home pay. Okay. Yeah, that's the next pasuk. Wow, it's a long one, this one. Okay, Lou, I don't think you had a turn yesterday.
So this
Well,
is
do
your
pasuk
Tetvov.
Yes, 15.
Izim ma sayim us yashim esrim rechelim ma sayim ve'elim esrim. Okay, so goats 200, and rams.
No, in
20?
a sense, he goats.
He goats.
He
Isn't
goats.
He goat a ram?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay.
Sheep have rams.
Oh, a he sheep is a ram. Okay.
Right.
And let's see. Rechelim is sheep.
Right. Ewes. EWES.
What are ewes?
She sheep. Female sheep.
Female sheep.
Female sheep. Okay. Ewes 200, and rams 20. Okay, so 200 female goats and 20 male goats, and 200 female sheep and 20 male sheep.
Right.
Okay. And there's a long Rashi. Wow. Okay. So Izim Masayim Us Yashim Esrim. 200 female goats and 20 male goats.
Rashi explains.
What?
Rashi's going to explain. Carry on, yeah. Hello?
Masayim Izim Tzrichos Esrim Tiyashim. Okay, so that's 200 she-goats are required for 20 he-goats.
20, right.
Oh, they require 20 he-goats.
Right.
The V'chein kulam, and so it is for all. Hazicharim kedei tzorech hanekevos, that the males in accordance with the need of the females.
Right.
Uvivreshis Rabbah Doresh. And in Bereshis Rabbah, it derives Mikan La
From here,
Olah Ha'amura Batorah. From here, what goes up?
no, it's no. It's a nun. It's not a lamed.
La'ona. What's la'ona mean?
Ona is the conjugal obligations, which is mentioned in the Torah. I mean, a man's conjugal obligation to his wife.
To fulfill the Torah,
Ha'amura, which is mentioned in the Torah.
which is
Okay, this is
mentioned.
the meaning. I'll explain as follows. The Torah says a man is obliged. A man has three major obligations to his wife. What's the Russian? Sher kesus v'oino. She'ro kesuso v'oino so lo yigra. Pasuk says with regard to a Jewish maidservant, if he marries, the man marries her, and he takes another wife as well, but nevertheless he cannot reduce his obligation towards her regarding three things. She'er ksus v'oina, which Chazal explained to me. She'er means he's got to provide her with food. Ksus, he's got to provide her with clothing. And oina means she has conjugal rights as well.
Rights or obligations?
Both. That's what marriage is all about.
Well, in this context, I would have said obligation. He has an obligation to
The
feed
man,
her, he has
yes,
an obligation to
he has
clothe her, he
rights.
has an obligation
Yeah,
to
no, she has
provide
rights.
conjugal rights,
and he has
conjugal activity.
No, 1 second. No, she has rights and he has obligations. Means he has an obligation to fulfill her conjugal rights. That's what I meant to say.
I see.
So
Okay.
just like he's got to provide her with food, he's got to provide her with clothing, and he's got to provide her with her conjugal rights. Okay? Now,
Okay.
now
T-I-L-E.
what are his obligations? What are his conjugal obligations to his wife? So the Gemara says, and this is what Rashi is going to explain, it depends who he is, what kind of work he has. Depending on what kind of work he has, so too is not comparison, according to the type of work that he has and the level of time he is preoccupied with his work. Yeah, so too in tandem, hand in hand with that will be the extent of his obligation to his wife. And the Gemara goes on. That's what he says. Hatayolim b'chol yoyim.
For those of leisure every day. Hapolim shtayim b'Shabbat. Workers twice per week. Hachamarim.
Yes, let me just explain.
B'Shabbat.
Are people. The guy's got $1 million in the bank account and he doesn't have to, he's got dividends coming in, he's got property here, he doesn't have to lift a finger to earn a living. He's a man of leisure. Okay? So he's got nothing really else to do, he's nothing preoccupied to earning his living. We'll see about Talmidei Chachamim separately. That's a separate issue. But somebody's not doing anything. It's a man of leisure. Then he has an obligation to his wife every day. Hapolim, regular workers, shtayim b'Shabbos, twice a week. Carry on. Hachamorim,
Mule drivers once a week. Hagamalim echad loshim yom.
Hagamalim, which means camel drivers, yeah.
Camel drivers once in every 30 days.
Okay.
Hasapanim achas l'shisha chadashim. Sailors once every 6 months.
Right.
Ve'eno yodea l'chavein.
Before we carry on, just 1 second, Lou. Before we carry on, the idea behind it is donkey drivers, right? They're busy the whole week transporting stuff from place to place. They're not at home. Once a week they come home. Okay? Otherwise they're on the road. Hagamalim, Gamalim who are camel drivers who go even longer distances. So how often do they come home? They come home on average once in 30 days. Okay, Hasaponim, sailors, they go for long sea journeys. How often do they come home? Once in 6 months. So whenever they are home, then they are obliged to have an obligation to their wives. Now, the Gemara explains that what's the idea is that, I mean, a guy can't all of a sudden say, you know, like he had a nice job as in a factory or something like that. He was a worker, and therefore his obligation was to his wife was twice a week. And one day he says, he sees an advert in the paper. We're looking for sailors, recruiting new sailors, and we're paying a very good wage, fantastic wage. And okay, we're looking for recruits. So the guy says, you know what? To save all my financial problems, I'm going to get great payment here. I'm going to take the job. His wife says, no, you can't. I want you at home. Does she have a right to object?
Yes.
The answer is yes. Because since previously his obligation towards her was twice a week, and now he's reducing it to once in 6 months, he can't do that without her consent. Even though her financial situation will be far superior now. Doesn't help. Okay?
Ve'eni yodea lechavein, and I do not intend.
No, I don't know how to lechavein hamedrash, to explain it, the medrash exactly, right?
I thought
The kivun. Explain exactly. Yeah, what he means is as follows. Rashi's bothered as follows. The medrash says you learn it from here. Well, how do I know that the sailors once in 6 months, or camel drivers once in 30 days, or donkey drivers once a week? How do I learn that from this pasuk? Because the pasuk got no shaykhs whatsoever to it. So how could the medrash say, you learn out one from the other? How do we this is where I learn out that a man, depending on his occupation, that's his obligation to his wife.
So how are you translating the word lechavein?
Lechavein means to how do you call it? Not just to explain, to fit in. And maybe that's the best word. This medrash, exactly according to the way Chazal explained it, means to say that we learn out a man's obligation to his wife from this pasuk. This pasuk is not talking about a man's obligation to his wife. It's talking about how the animals mate. Let's look at how Rashi carries on. Achnira be'einai.
I have Hamidrash, Hazeh.
Right.
Which means how this midrash fits in. Same word, right?
Does not.
What?
I do not know how exactly to fit in this medrash. Let me see exactly how I translated it. Here. I'm unable to pinpoint how the medrash exactly derives this.
So you're translating likavein as pinpoint?
Right.
And bekivun as exactly?
Exactly. Correct.
Ach nir'eh be'enai. But it seems in my eyes, in other words, it seems to me, she'lamadnu mikan, that we learn from here, she'ein ha'oneh, that marital duties are not shava b'chol adam, the same for all people. Ella lefi hatorach hamutal alav. Rather, according to the labor that is upon him. What is
Incumbent
mutal?
upon it.
What is
That's
mutal?
incumbent.
Incumbent.
That's incumbent upon it. Means that's placed upon him. Torah hamutal means the work that's incumbent upon this animal.
Or in this
As he goes,
case,
Rashi goes on to
this person.
So similarly by people as well.
Shematzinu kan shemaser l'chol tayish. That we find here, shemasar
That he gave over.
What is masar?
He gave over.
He gave over all the
For each. The kol tayish, for each he-goat, Esa easy.
Eser easy.
10 she-goats.
10 she-goats. V'chein l'chol ayil, and similarly for each ram. L'fi she'hem p'nuyim mimelacha, in accordance with what they.
Because not the fee in this, the fee because shehem penuyim mimelacha. They are free of work, meaning goats and sheep are not beasts of burden. They don't do work. Meaning, what do? They just graze the whole time. So since they don't have to, there's no physical heavy labor upon them, so therefore they have an easy life. So they'll have the Torah, or should we say, by nature, they now are able to sire more she animals than other animals which are beasts of burden.
Darkam leharbos tashmish. It is their way to have frequent relations.
Right.
Ula aber asar eser nekevos, and to impregnate 10 females.
Right.
Uve hema mi shenis abra, and an animal that becomes pregnant, Eina mikabeles zachar, does not accept the male. Ufarim,
She doesn't want to have relations anymore.
right. Ufarim she'oskin bimalacha, and bulls that are involved in work, lo masar l'zachar ella arba nekevos. He did not give to the male, he only gave to the male 4 females. Ulachamor sheholech b'derech rechoka, and for the donkey that travels on the way a long distance, shtei nekevos lazera, lazachar, 2 females per male. Ulagmalim sheholechim derech yoser rechoka, and for camels that are traveling on the way even more distance, nekeva achas la zachar, one male for a female.
For each male, one female for each male.
One female for each male. Nekeva
Yes, so what
echad.
Rashi said-
Female one
Right.
female for each male.
right. So what Rashi's saying here is that Rashi's saying that you see as well that why was the different ratio of males to females for different animals is according to should we say the freedom of the males to be able to sire the females. Whereas sheep and goats had very little work to do, so therefore they're freer, they're less burdened, so therefore they have more free time, they have more strength and more time to be together with the females. Whereas oxen have less time, and donkeys have even less, and camels even less than that. So similarly by human beings as well, depending on the husband's job and how much physical labor and how much is available for his wife, so too is his marital obligation towards his wife. Okay? Very good. Okay, so we'll stop here, because I shall pick up tomorrow. Good. Shkoyach.
Thank you.
Fine. Have a
Very
great
good,
day.
Lou.
Kol tov.
Yeshkayach.